I embraced AI over the last few years, but the more I used it for my real estate photography, the more I found it started hurting my business. Now, like everybody else, I thought that AI would make my job easier, but over time, it didn't. In fact, it wasn't until I started reverting back to some of the older, more traditional techniques that something strange happened. I started editing faster, more accurately, and my workflow felt under control again. Here's what happened. When AI first came out, it was very exciting to see where this would go. And I saw that, well, this could provide some automation, it could really speed things up, possibly make things easier, but it took multiple tries to get anything right. It often got things wrong. It was taking longer to get usable results. So instead of simplifying my workflow, in many cases, it started complicating it. The other issue now is that we thought originally, well, this would be a very cost-effective thing, but the price of AI keeps going up. For instance, if you were to use even the Firefly model in Photoshop right now, the latest one, which is version 5, that costs 10 times as many credits. It costs 10 credits to use Firefly version 5. If you were to use some of their partner models like Nano Banana 2, Gemini 3.1, to get a 1K resolution image is 20 credits. It's for 40 credits for a 2K. If you were to use GPT, it's like 60 credits. At some point, you're paying more for something that you still have to fix later. To add insult to injury on this, the output quality just isn't always there. Now, I found it useful for some small items, but still, some of the time it takes to do that just isn't always worth it. And when it came to larger edits, well, the resolution isn't there, but also the quality really isn't there either. A lot of times, it just becomes unpredictable, no matter the prompt I'm using, and it becomes different every new release of AI that comes out, whether it's Nano Banana or whether it's even the Firefly inside of the Adobe products. Then there's the automatic AI editing software like Fotello and AutoHDR. Now, you've probably seen me talk about them before, and I've done reviews on them as well to see the quality. I've got a link to a video you can watch also down in the description of this video about that. Well, they work really well if something's basically neutral and it's easy, but once it's complex and you have a lot of colors, things just start falling apart. So not really a fan of that, especially for the cost. It's just too expensive compared to even just outsourcing in some cases to get better results. Also, a lot of other photographers have found that it's becoming more difficult to get customer support and also cancel their subscriptions to these services. And then came the legal issues over this last year. You may recall a couple videos I did on California's AB 723, a law that highly restricts what you can do with editing. AI was playing a big part of that, and that's what really was the cause and the impetus to somebody making that bill, which now is law in the state of California, which can be a misdemeanor offense if you're not disclosing the editing properly. So being fearful that this might also bleed over into other states, MLSs are adopting similar policies. And there's a big reason behind this, and it has to do with reputation. In real estate, especially real estate photography, reputation is everything. And when it comes to AI, it's starting to get kind of a negative stigma attached to it. When somebody's working on a transaction that could cost somebody millions of dollars, like real estate, well, the last thing they want is to be fooled or to think that there's something that could be a little on the shady side, something a little sketchy. So it was starting to be one of those things where if I'm using AI, well, is that going to hurt my reputation as a professional real estate photographer? So what do I do instead? Well, this has been a slow transition, kind of weaning myself off of AI, where it's like, well, this would be easy to do with a generative fill, to do a bunch of item removal. Somebody's asking me to change out some things for virtual staging or whatnot. This might work. Also, I do a lot of architectural and design photography, and there's almost anything goes. We don't have MLS regulations when you're doing A&D work, which is great, but it also means that, well, how long is it going to take me to really fulfill some of the editing, the extra editing that somebody's paying me for? Can I really do that with AI? So one of the things that I love to use that's AI-driven, for instance, in Photoshop, and that's the selection tools. Now that's AI-driven, but that's not generative AI. And it can do a really good job of selecting things better than just possibly using a polygon tool. So they've really improved on that. Another thing too is that consider the remove tool. Now, the nice thing about the Remove tool in Photoshop is that it no longer uses any generative credits. Hooray! Except that it takes forever sometimes for that to accomplish anything. You could be sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting on the progress for it to do something to see how well it worked. And it didn't get it right, try it again, didn't get it right, try it again. Well, you can also use the spot healing brush, which is instantaneous. And for a lot of things, I just find that to just be better. And also, half the time, I'm still going in and fixing things after the Remove tool takes its time, does its thing, and it's still not quite right. For virtual staging, this is a big one and it's somewhat AI driven, but as you know from other videos I've done, I like to use applydesign.io. And the reason being is that I can get Photoshop layers out of that I just put into my editing. So it's using AI to figure out where the shadows should be and things like that. But the furniture is deliberate. So I'm actually picking out furniture, picking out rugs, picking out artwork on the wall and all those things, and I'm deciding where they go. Now, yes, I do have to be careful on the size of it. I can't really be deceptive doing that. That would also hurt my reputation. But that's not really so much AI. I just can't find myself anymore thinking about using generative fill in Photoshop or any other program that's generative AI to create the virtual staging, and which can be hit and miss. It might not be then a very good quality. And also, what about consistency? So by using these tools, instead of just relying on everything AI, well, that's really helped my workflow. Which raises a big question you might be asking yourself: should you abandon AI completely for real estate photography? Well, I'd say it's more like weaning yourself off of it if you've gotten used to it. You might start realizing things could go faster. The other thing too is to see where it does fit. So AI has kind of now found its niche. Originally when it came out, we were all amazed, wow, where is this going to go? Well, it's kind of peaked when it comes to a lot of photography genres, especially when it comes to things we would do with real estate. So you can find that some of the traditional tools still may work, but you also can find where AI does fit. The thing is, you don't want your workflow to become AI dependent and require AI to do work that you could just do yourself. By leaning on something that's not so AI dependent, you then aren't tethered to using AI. And that's why I teach those techniques throughout my real estate photography courses. Because as pros, we need to rely on our ability, not the ability of just AI. So at the end of the day, AI or not, no tool should hinder our workflow and our progress or hurt our business. It just doesn't fit. Why would we do that with gear or any software? So when you think about AI, even though it may be all the rage, well, it's starting to hurt some people in some cases. It isn't just taking jobs away. That was the big fear. And everybody said, embrace AI. If you don't, then you'll be left behind. And I was one of those people saying that too, and I really felt that. But the more I started using it, I started realizing I need to find a balance with that so that it doesn't hinder my work. Same goes for any tool, any type of techniques that we use. But the big thing also is once I stepped back, I started realizing I was doing editing and things more deliberate. And that's what photography really is all about. It's not just going there and being a glorified shutter release at some type of a shoot, especially in real estate, just showing up and I'll just grab this stuff and hope AI will edit it just fine. It's actually shooting with intention so that you can edit with intention. And that puts kind of a branding around you to see the type of results that you can get. I would like to thank you for watching, and until next time, value your work, stay focused, and keep your images real.